Welcome to Legacy Conversations, a channel where we preserve military memories and history.
Hello everyone, welcome back here to the paratrooper selection and hangar phase and everything. The series we've been making. If you haven't seen the other videos, please have a look at the links and they are there. Now I have to say to you, this is the interesting technical part because this is the hangar phase. This is where the young paratroopers now have passed their selection. In the old days, up to about 1989, 88 I think, I speak on a correction. It was 14 days, and then they shortened it to 3 days and 2 nights. Doesn't matter, at the end of the day, if you wanted to be a paratrooper in the South African Army, you had to pass that. There's no other way about it, and it was hell on earth. So that was episodes 2, was a 14-day selection, and then you had episode 3, which was a 3-day and 2-night selection. You had episode 1 where we spoke about the history of the paratroopers as well as 7 Medical Battalion, Special Forces medics, doctors. And now we are at the hangar phase in episode 4. And we have our old friend, Commandant or Lieutenant Colonel Frans van Tubbergh, who was the instructor on both these courses, not these specific ones perhaps, but definitely an instructor in such courses. And later also the officer commanding of a 3-day course. And so he's going to tell us now what happened, what's the technical things, what they did there, why they did it, and so forth.
Who am I? I'm Frans van Tubbergh, born in 1959, matriculated in Afrikaans Hoërseunskool Pretoria. I joined the army in 1978, 2nd of January. I did basics with D Company, 1 Parachute Battalion in Bloemfontein. At the end of basic training, I was transferred to infantry school in Oudtshoorn. I did my junior leader course and returned to Bloemfontein 1 Parachute Battalion the end of December 1978. I was then a NCO in numerous companies until 1982 when I did officer selection successfully. I became an officer. I served as an officer in 1 Parachute Battalion up until 1988. The end of 1988, I was transferred with promotion to Major to 6-1 Mechanized Battalion Group, where I served for 5 years as a SAP unit commander. And the end of 1993, beginning 1994, I was transferred back to 44 Parachute Brigade as the officer commanding of the Parachute Training Center, where I took over from Matian Talliard. I then served for 2 years as the OC Parachute Center, and in my last year in the Defence Force, I was the SO1 operations of 44 Parachute Brigade. What qualifies me to discuss the parachute selection courses? In my first tenure with 1 Parachute Battalion, I was the instructor on numerous courses. I was also utilized as a course leader. And in my second tenure with Parachute Forces, I presented all parachute selection courses. That was the new 3-day course as course leader. So I'm in a position to speak about both and to compare them. I want to stress that I can only speak for myself, what I personally experienced and how I saw it. I have no kept records. I speak purely from memory. Please forgive me if there's any discrepancies according to your own experiences and knowledge. The military parachute jump course, the first one was called the basic course because that was the first one of all the courses, and that was the static line course. Initially, it was 3 weeks in the 70s and 80s, and sometimes in the 90s it changed to 4 weeks. Students who attended must either have passed the parachute selection course, like the one parabon, 44 Brigade, 7 Met, etc., or the Special Forces members that passed their own selection. In the case of the South African Air Force pilots for the mobile field teams, under 30, they had to do the selection and jump course. Over 30, only the jump course, but that was only a few. Of course, then they have to be physically and medically fit. For the instructors must have been of an instructional background. Then they first had to do the dispatcher's course, the static line dispatcher's course, then the instructor's course, and as part of the instruction course, they had to take one stick through for the full training. The instructors initially was restricted to infantry, but when one parachute battalion group became a battalion group, it was opened up to the other arms of service, for example, artillery, anti-aircraft engineers, etc. The jumping height for all jumps is 1,000 feet for training. Operationally, it was 400 feet, but it was later changed to 600 feet with very good reason. Anybody that jumped at 400 feet will agree with me. The first Monday, you reported at the hangar or the parachute training wing in your khaki smocks and jumper boots, proud as hell, because to get there was not easy. Then you were divided into sticks. Now a stick is the people or the jumpers jumping from one door of one aircraft at one time. That's called a stick. So for the 4 weeks, you were part of a stick. The ground training then started. It was divided into 4. First was the aircraft drill. I'm coming back to that. Then the exit, the flight, and the landing. When that was finished, they moved over to the jumping tower or the upcast. I'll return to that. Now, the aircraft drills was done in mock-ups. We had the C-130/16 as well as the Kota mock-ups. It was basically the same size and dimensions inside, and the inside of the interior were almost the same as the aircraft. There we did all aircraft drills from getting in till the moment you exit or jump out. Then the exit, for the exits, we used exit doors. It's basically a frame with 6 doors inside the hangar. Now, the exit is extremely important for a parachute jump, because if you don't exit properly, it can cause abnormalities and interfere with the opening of your parachute, which we don't want. The flight was as the moment you leave the aircraft till just before you land. That was done in a harness hanging from the roof on cables, and there you practiced all the flight drills. Now, important, the first thing when you jump out is to look up and inspect your parachute to make sure it is deployed properly. Then you do all-round observation, that is left, right, and underneath you, to make sure you know where the other jumpers in the air are, because you have to steer away from them and not get entangled. And then you have to concentrate on your landing and wait for that to happen. Also included in the flight drills was all the emergencies. That is water landing, landing in trees and power lines, any canopy abnormalities, twist, and other jumpers in the air. The golden rule for any of these was, if you're in doubt on your main parachute, you open your reserve. You do that without cutting away or anything, because you haven't got enough height to do so. So you keep what you've got and you pull your reserve. For all the other emergencies, your first action of anything is to try to avoid it at all costs. Else, for the landings, you keep a good parachute position and hope for the best. The landings was the most important part of the total training, because if you got 128 jumpers jumping and landing. You want all 128 fit for the operation, the attack or whatever it may be. Now for the landings in the hangar, we used the mats. Then we were at the low ramp, high ramp, slides, ladders, and then lastly the block and tackle, which was as close as you can get to a real landing. Now for the uninformed, if you stand on a 6-foot ladder and you jump down from that, that is more or less the impact that your body have to absorb. You then proceed to the jump tower. The jump tower is 35 feet height. And then you first do the fan on the backside, which would just focus on the exit. And then from the exit doors, you do the exit as well as your flight drills. Refusals, the people who refused to jump, and they were not many, normally refused at the jumping tower or the upcast. From there on, 99% plus they jumps without any problems. Then you get to your first 2 jumps. Now, important of your first 2 jumps, you jumped in sticks of 4 to 6, depending on the instructors available, and it was evaluated or marked by instructor. We used telemeters, which is basically a super binoculars on steroids, mounted on a tripod, and you observed from the exit to the landing. That was put on a mark sheet, and after the jump, there was a debrief. Every jumper was debriefed exactly. You either got a good performance, that was the top 5%, average, which was the majority, or a bad performance, which was the bottom 5%. Bad performance were problematic. That means you haven't got the ability to control your body. It normally means like a banana landing or landing with open legs, etc. On your second jump, you were marked again. And if you received 2 bad performances, that was it. You had to leave the course, clear out, and return to your unit. On your third jump, there were some people that had a bad performance on the second jump that they had to remark again, and if they passed, that was it. Okay. Then from your 4th jumps onwards, you jump in full sticks of 20. Then you return to the hangar for your equipment training. To simulate the weight, we used the old famous marble, which is between 23 and 25 kilograms, not 50, not 60, not 100. I've heard many stories. It is between 23 and 25 kilograms. It differs a bit because the sizes differs a bit, and that is the weight. You then did the ground training in the harnesses in the hangar. When that was finished, you went back to the upcast or the jumping tower, and you jumped from the exit doors with your equipment and test the exit and the drills. You also did the difference in the aircraft drills. It differs a bit because we had to hook up the equipment, and the flight was different as well because we had to release the equipment at about 200 feet. It will then hang under you on a 15-foot rope, and that's the way you land. Then you did your equipment jump out with the Dakota. Thereafter, it was back to the ground training, and you did the C-130 or C-130 aircraft drills. And then for 2 days, they sent over a C-130 or 60 from Pretoria. You first did the clean fatigue jump, and then the second day, equipment jump. When that was finished, you had a night jump left. The only difference between a night and a day jump was that you closed your one eye 2 minutes before exit, and when you exited, you opened both eyes and you could see a little bit. That was the drills was were exactly the same, no problem. According to the SOPs, you needed 7 jumps to qualify. That was basically 4 clean fatigue jumps, 2 equipment, and 1 night. But we normally qualify the guys on more than 7 jumps, depending on the weather. And we also did at least a couple of steerable parachute. The free fallers will tell you it's not a steerable, it's a turnable. It's got a forward speed of between 3 and 5 kilometers an hour. So all you do is you basically, after you've done your drills, turn into the wind and wait for the ground. As easy as that. It's not that you could steer to somewhere or someplace. When all that was finished, on the last day, you had your glamour parade or wings parade. That started off with all the parents, girlfriends, etc. arriving at the unit. They then went out to the dropping zone. The students ordered the parachute jump. They returned to the unit. There was then a wings parade where everybody received his wings. A very big day in your life. Then they disappeared. They went to clear out handbag equipment, etc., etc. And the guests were treated on a demonstration inside the hangar, including the jumping towers. After that, there were a few drinks in the bar, some snacks, and then the outside students departed back to the units, and all the inside students departed on the weekend pass.
Right, I'm outside. Young troop. Young troop.
Skoene. Skoene. Goeie landing. Goed. Volgende keer in. Ja, hier die kant van die deur. Pas op. Jy van daar af op die video. Van daar af. Dus op. Concentreer maar. Hier is naar de stap. Goed. Volgende keer in. Nou in. Kom. Hier is kant van die been, maar baie beter. Baie beter. Je moet springen, want het is niet beter om te doen. Volgende keer in. Goeie landing. Volgende keer in elkaar. Nou in. Goed. Daar zijn kin op die bol. Weer naar die mooi. Okay, luister hierso. Julle moet nou mooi luister. Kom ek af vir jou. Hallo, jou leer daar aan die hanger, nee. As jy met jou uitspring en 'n kompakte houding moet wees, dan is daar 'n doel daarmee. Dan is daar 'n rede oor hoekom jy dit moet doen. En die rede hoekom jy dit moet doen, om jou geheue te verfris is, om die skroewens en om die wind van die vliegtuig abrekeer te oorkom. Weet julle dit? Want alles wat los is en wat uitsteek, vat die wind en dan gaan dit ronddraai en rondmaal en rondval. Dit gaan 'n implikasie hê op jou valskerm. Weet julle dit? Jy terug. Jy nie behoorlik kan vloei nie. As jy nie 'n ordentlik sprong kan uitvoer nie. So wat jy daar leer, moet jy daar onthou as jy hoor van die grond af gaan. Jy moet nie ophou dink as jy begin hoogte kry nie. Verstaan julle dit? Right. Die grootste fout algemeen wat hier gewees is. A, julle dryf nie uit nie, omdat julle afkyk grond toe. En tweedens, julle bene is waawys oop. Waarom? Van net julle weer. So jy moet concentreer, man. Gaan nie vanself regkom nie, dan moet dink. Jy het gepaal op julle, daar moet jy jou afgestuur, jy moet jy op die skouder klap het nie, dan nog al boven staan. Staan jy? Kom op beker, as hulle klaar is, dat hulle gaan sit. Ruk uit julle nie op die blyle ook. Dit is genoeg nie. Dit is genoeg nie. Jy moet weer gaan. Right. Gaan. Jy spring reg af van die grond, waarvoor? Newton, organise al die dinge self op, maat. Jy moet net reg uitspring, jy het myself wat jy afprobeer. Sien dit? Laat er uitspring, kom. Jy is so bang, ek sien nou vir jou. Ek kan nie van die laat nie vir jou te sien nie. Jy kan nie doen. Sien, net so van doen. Kom nou ons. Kom nou. Pas, as jy kan. Kan ek nie doen? Die duik nie uit, jy kan nie so uit. Dit hou jou nie afgestuur dat jy te hand nie. As jy nog al boog gestaan. Jy moet alles gaan mooi gebeur, man. Jy moet nie gestaan. Jy is nou vir die water, nou moet jy self doen. Weet jy dit? Kom. Jy goeie uitspring gehad. Maar jy moet 45 grade uitspring, weet jy dit? Ok, moet nie probeer om 90 grade in die weerpaal te spring, jy gaan nie werk nie. Spring 45 grade, jy staan en skroeven en alles van die piede is op. Goed, jaren van jy nou moet weer. Kijk wat, jij aan het trek. Kijk, volgende keer. Zullen we uittrekken? Sta op, sta net op. Let aan. Zet op je plek als je niet bal rondwurp. Ja, kom eens, dat is erbij. Je hebt nog een paar rondwurp. Pak naar je in positief hier toch. Sta op. Je loopt wel een vast terecht. Kom vast. Ja, ik ga wel iets anders, maar die gewoon komt doen. Ik sta er echt op en ik ga wel iets anders met je vast terecht. Hallo. Ik weg je los van de stad. Ik weg je los van de stad. Bak. Wat is nek? Stand op. Ik wil met de paal scherp. Brouw. Bak. Amorse. Waar die vraag van de... Amorse. Oh, dit moet ook gaan, vanuit de naam, alles goed. Je hebt nooit geleerd om hier van de kant te trekken. Ha? Ha? Hoe is het er roemer? Zijn er ook betekend dat het jagen wordt? Ja, wat is het? Hij heeft aan de rug. Wel, ik heb nooit gezegd. Frans, ik ga los met de stad. Hier is het dood, hou jullie handen, kom maar op. Hier, kom hier. Hai, kom aan. Iemand zien met de nood. Je kan niet meer zien. sê nou by sy gewop. Wachtmeter laten we eruit, kies voor rechter stuurbanden. Hoe was het?
Ja, dat is lastig. Met de leer van die keer.
Wat je gezegd hiervan?
Privé mee.
Oké, vertel gewoon voor mij. Hoe dit gevoel?
Ik vind het lekker geweest. Het is helemaal anders wat de mensen verwachten.
Ja, maar wat je gedaan?
Wat de mensen uitgesteld.
Ja. Wat je alles gedaan toen je uitgesprongen hebt? Klaar vir die volgende aanloop. Okay, nommer 3 trek nou op. Nommer 4, kry jy al boven? Al boven, nommer 4.
Gentlemen, what can I say? It's the end of our series on what it takes to become a paratrooper in the South African Army. I don't think things have changed much since then. We've gone through the 4 videos now. We started with a history of the paratroopers and 7 Medical Battalion Group. Then we went to the second episode, which is the 14-day course or selection. Then we went to the third episode, the 3-day and 2 nights selection or PT course. And then on the 4th one, which is this one, we completed the entire series by going through the hangar phase as well as through the jumping, the first jump. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will look at these men with their parachute wings now with renewed respect. I want to thank everybody who was involved in the series. So that's it. God bless you until we meet again.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications.